But we got Ram from Avichi. Welcome, Ram.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Dude, excited to talk. You guys just closed out an exciting raise here, and I'll pull that up here on the
Yeah,
screen. You guys decided to take, it looks like 3.5 million. You guys got to like
yep,
35 nearly in the raise,
yeah,
if I remember correctly. Do you just want to tell us about what you're feeling right now, how that went, etc.?
yeah. Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I initially I was not a fan of tokens at all, but I changed my mind after talking to Profit and understanding Futachi and decision markets.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, I actually think what I predicted actually came through. I just have now 2,000 people who really give a damn about what we're building, and that's the main reason why I wanted to do a token in the first place. So yeah, pretty awesome.
Well, you didn't want to launch a token. I would assume though you've probably been in crypto for a while if you're pushing this neobank narrative. Maybe,
Yeah,
yeah. When did you get started there?
yeah. I actually worked in esports and gaming prior for 2 years, let's say from 2018, and that's how I actually got into crypto. Like gaming is something that I've been doing, and I came across this game called CryptoKitties that kind of filled me in, and ownership in games made complete sense for me. I wanted to build a product that essentially made simple for people to just access these games and just provide a good UX for them to, they don't have to worry about wallet and everything. But ultimately couldn't find product market fit because, well, they were not good enough Web3 games, and I still think Web3 games is still pretty very early, and it needs some big push to make it work. So yeah, but one important thing I learned from there is off ramping is like a big pain, and that's probably 80% of the reason our product failed. And after taking some break, I started to use wallets and exchanges more than my local bank account because my local bank account sucks. And for me, stable coins just felt like, yeah, they have product market fit, and I want to build something around stable coins because, uh, yeah, like I love fintech too. I actually did fintech before my own startup, interned at a fintech startup.
Nice.
I always was interested in it, and yeah, that's how I got around crypto.
Okay, well, something I really want to touch about because it seems like
Yeah,
Avicii kind of came out of necessity. You saw the pain points of on ramping and off
yeah.
ramping, and you even said, "Well, no, I actually use crypto dexes now, wallets more than my local bank." Firstly, I guess if you don't mind saying, like, what is local to you, and why are there so many pain points with most bank accounts in most countries outside the U.S.?
Yeah, I think emerging markets. I'm from India. I can talk about India. Like India, you essentially still can't on ramp and withdraw to a crypto wallet. There's no exchange that allows you because of the capital controls. And off ramping is also a quite big pain because banks they really don't want you to take crypto, or they don't understand crypto. They don't have a framework because there's a big pushback in terms of banks. For us, we actually started Avichi as an off ramp method. We did have multiple local partners to essentially do this in Southeast Asia. But whenever they want to off ramp high volumes or essentially like monthly or frequently, banks wouldn't just cooperate, and they would either freeze the account or they would stop. And even all the partners that we had, essentially, we couldn't scale it up. That's where actually that pushed us to go towards card, because I think cards are like literally the perfect off ramp alternative, and they have insane product market fit because people know how to use them, and you essentially don't need a off ramp to a bank account at all, because you could just spend it wherever Visa is accepted, and it's still self custodial, so you have access to all the funds, and whenever you want to off ramp, you just pull out the card and just spend.
So quick question
Yeah.
for you. Kind of more of a more overarching view of just crypto in general. We have. I'm very fascinated with the concept of a crypto native neobank because you have something like Bitcoin that self sovereignty gives you ownership. You have the ability to self custody that, right? Um, but that self custody is like only a wallet, right? Like you can't like use that in any practical day to day form. So I feel like neobanks such as Avici kind of close the loop on self sovereignty. On one side, you have like on with just Bitcoin, you still have to interact with your bank, right, to off ramp and do all these things. So, kind of talk to us a little bit about your views on just the way that Avici closes the loop a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I think Not just because of self custody, but also I actually think wallets suck if you want to do something as a serious as finance and do. I mean, imagine. I mean, full disclosure, I actually lost my entire OMFG allocation because I misclicked on a phishing link, and it's the same with
No.
all EOA wallets, right? Like simple signature can take out your entire funds. So I think smart accounts, the way we're building, is like a good application of essentially self-custodial, but actually built for banking and payments, like where serious funds are actually stored, used, and essentially can be off-ramped. And yeah, I think self-custody is useless if you can't do anything in the real world, and there's no interoperability between how people already interact. And I think that's one of the reason why, even as a bootstrap startup, we were able to essentially scale insanely, because people just love using this, and there's good retention. They understand how it works, and they can just essentially top up or credit from anywhere, any of the wallets that they have access to already.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. We see projects, pushing towards crypto cards, right? So you can spend your crypto,
Yeah,
maybe even integrating bank account numbers into wallets,
yeah,
so they can act as bank account. Like, there's so much
yeah,
innovation going on in this sense. It's pretty impressive. A few things I saw. Chill put out a tweet actually today, and I don't know if I have
yeah,
that, but I'll cover that in
Yeah.
a second. Clearly, you're getting high praise. But
yeah.
what do you think when you see things like uh, Revolut nearing a $3 billion fundraising spree, and just so many big players coming into the space to kind of innovate in this niche of
And
neobanking?
And I'll add on to that question as well. I apologize. My mic was actually muted. So I was like trying to talk to you, respond back, and I realized my mic was muted. But definitely in connection with this Revolut fundraising, I found it interesting that they raised at a 75 billion valuation, and they raised in the billions. Obviously, this narrative goes beyond just our echo bubble in crypto. Talk to us a little bit about the addressable market. Like, how far reaching is a solution like Avichi?
Yeah, I think this is also my answer whenever says there are a lot of crypto cards, because because it's product market fit, and essentially you can the TAM is essentially everyone who wants to spend, right? It's really big. But I think focusing on emerging markets again, I actually think emerging markets banking infrastructure still sucks, right? And with us, with the infrastructure that we have, where essentially it's just everything is a smart contract, right? Like, I think what we are at core, what we are trying to simplify is the issuing bank infrastructure. Where if you think about a regular issuing bank, they'll have to have fund movements. They have like 200 people just focusing on where the funds are going. With us, we don't need to do that, right? Like, everything is self-custodial. We have blockchains to depend on, and whenever they want to spend, we just pull it up and essentially do it. I actually think, even though Revolut and everyone will go after, they'll still face the innovators dilemma. They might still want to adopt it, but it'll still be slow. But I think for things like Avishi, I think we'll essentially, since we're building it from scratch from day one, that we took a decision. Okay, it's going to be on chain. It's going to be self custodial. We'll honor all things that people essentially want. We have a better chance of basically eating up market share before they really seriously completely change from the ground up.
I'm really interested in this whole neobanking narrative simply because I have
Yeah,
family. I'm personally I'm from the island, so like I have family that in the islands, like the banking infrastructure is so painstakingly slow. They're very cash heavy, and so is it
yeah.
far fetched to say, in your experience, Ram, that something like Avicii is just simply better than banking services offered in many parts of the world?
Yeah, actually, not even better. In some places, it could be the only one that they could rely on too, because I think I mean, in countries where you have insane inflation, they don't want to even use a local bank account, right? But yeah, I think you're spot on. Like, wherever there is a huge gap in terms of what people want, in terms of a simple finance is still missing, and since we have the infrastructure to essentially scale globally, which is both good and bad, because for us it's a lot of work to just make sure that it's available globally. But yeah, this is where I'm focused on right now. Like we're just deeply looking at where we are getting organic traction from, and essentially trying to double down on that, and actually understanding why people are essentially using us.
And so with that in mind, there's so many implications for a neobank that's global and easily accessible. I mean, what does the workload look like on the regulatory side of things? I was actually kind of tinkering around with the app. Again, thinking of my family in the islands, like I just want to like sometimes just be able to send them something real quick.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be easy to do on Avici, but I noticed like, there's a lot of, different terms and conditions and things of that nature. So kind of just begs a question. What does the regulatory workload look like? Like what is that a roadblock for you guys? Are you getting through it okay? How does that look?
Yeah, for us, it's quite simple because I think our partners, both Rain and Bridge, and with the Genius Act in US, there's tons of clarity right now, and US is all about improving stablecoin adoption worldwide, right? So essentially, I think I would highlight that especially a partner Rain, I think that they're doing a tremendous job because they're a direct Visa principal member, and they can essentially they're handling all the uh, regulatory side and actually making sure that it's available globally, because there's no issuing bank in the middle per se, and they're essentially a Visa principal member, and they could essentially onboard wherever Visa is giving them access to, which is pretty global because there's no issuing bank, there's no risk of secure credit lines and stuff. So yeah, I think having partners like that makes it much easier, and we just get to focus on product and product only.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I don't want to jump too far ahead. I had some questions around like, things that you guys have planned. Dom, anything that you wanted to kind of transition to next? I just didn't want to jump too far ahead here. Muted.
Of course. Yeah, so Chill was talking about using the app, tinkering around with it. I saw this post, and shout out Contra, excuse me, shout out Contra. He's been doing some crazy work for Avichi, some bag work, and he's highlighting a lot of stuff for you. You guys have some pretty impressive metrics. I could read through this, but I'll just let you talk about it, Ram. Maybe give us some ideas. Who's using your product? How many people are using your product? How it's scaling? What month-on-month growth looks like? The whole kit and caboodle there.
Yeah, I think we have over now 10,000 signups and almost 4.2 monthly active users. And I think primarily the thing is, we exactly don't know, we don't collect address of proof. So we still do identity because they could be doing identity verification from a different country and spending everywhere. But the spends are essentially USD at the top, followed by Canada and few other currencies. And most traction is from Southeast Asia, like Bangladesh, Indonesia, where I think they know about these cards, they've heard about it, and they just discovered it through referral. We have a very strong referral program. That's our probably our most number one driving growth. And yeah, we just actually crossed even 1.2 million in spends.
Wow.
And the spends is growing almost now 40% if you average the last 30 days. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, I think look again, another Contra tweet here. Yeah, 40 plus month-on-month growth, 70% retention, 70% in the past 3 months. How long have you guys been operational?
So I think I started this last year as just as a wallet and off ramp, and I think in December last year is when we decided to do the card, and we did like a private beta launch in March, and then we essentially went live in August without an invite code, and just basically opening it to everyone by launching the physical card and no invite code around August 5th this year.
So I'm gonna loop this back then, because you said originally you weren't interested in launching a token. Then Profit kind of came out with this food target. Now what we're calling more so ownership coins, a little easier to understand, and it got you interested enough to launch a token. Why did you decide to launch a token then? Because originally you weren't planning to do that. Seems like.
Yeah, I think I didn't like tokens, but I like DAOs. Simply because see, the main vision for Avichi is, and the purpose is essentially to reduce central bank's influence. And the way we can do, at least have a good shot at doing that, is probably if you are sufficiently decentralized as an org. I didn't want to do tokens because of how broken it was. Because see, even if I wish to do a token, I mean, we registered in US as a Delaware Corp, and we'll have to figure out another way. And there's all these problems that comes with, okay, like how do I make my token useful? Where does the value accrual go? For me, I was actually in the dilemma of, okay, and also I don't want to make my product use like difficult to use because I have to bake in a token and have like utility. I think the number one thing that stopped me from doing a token is because we still haven't created value as a product, and there's no need for us to actually show to someone that, hey, like this is why you need to get it, and there's utility baked into it. I think one thing that really changed is with essentially what MetaDAO has with the infrastructure is, yeah, I don't have to worry about shoving in a utility right now. The IP is with the DAO. I signed over everything. There's tons of alignment between everyone, and my focus is just focus on revenue and revenue only, and that'll take care of everything. And I don't have to worry about any other distractions that come with it. And yeah, that's what really made me go like, yeah, like I won't have any distractions. Sure, price and everything is distraction, but it's way less than trying to force utility.
It's kind of nice, and Chill, I'm going to let you go here in a second. It's kind of nice not having to, we do so many interviews. We've done hundreds at this point. And it's kind of nice not having to really touch on utility because it's kind of baked into, the natural growth of the project. And I just think that's so interesting. So I just felt like butting in there. Chill, you can go ahead and continue.
No, you're good. Actually, you kind of answered my next question here, Ram. But what I was really going to ask you about, is it's just interesting that you didn't want to launch a token at first, and this kind of MetaDAO and what they offer was just a little bit of one of the, like, a bigger solution for you. I mean, do you feel like as a founder, there are other founders, or from your experience, do you feel like there are other founders in your similar suit, your similar shoes, and had a similar thought process in that, hey, a token is just too complicated, it comes with too much baggage, but MetaDAO, in the way that they're launching, kind of takes that weight off of you? Do you feel like that's kind of like a value add for some of these founders, or like just kind of wanting to look from the founder perspective to see kind of where it provided value for you?
Yeah, actually, I'll link in the question that you guys were discussing before I hopped in, which is why wouldn't it be more than 90%? I would actually argue it will be, because if you see Safe and Delaware C Corp, like 90% of the SF startups register in Delaware. Why? Because investors trusted, wanted, and founders think, yeah, like it's the best protection for investors, and investors are trusting with the structure. And I think it's the same for what MetaDAO is building. Essentially, they have all the legal work to essentially satisfy the founders, satisfy the investors that everything is protected. And I actually think because there's infrastructure solved and there's no distractions that come with forcing a utility, I think these guys will definitely scale up. And I actually think once it makes sense, and adding to the main thing, right? I think for me, one of the other reasons that I wanted to do is I have a really passionate community now that actually cares about my product, and now are asking questions about what we need to build, what we need to ship, what's missing. So I think this kind of support is crucial for any startup. And I think that's both of these would make tons of sense. And I do think more than 90% of the founders would end up choosing MetaDAO if they really scaling the way that they're.
Cool.
That's
Yeah, for
awesome.
context, I wasn't arguing against that. I was just begging the question. But I think no one better to cover this than Profit, right? Obviously, Profit had to kind of pill you on getting you to launch this token. So, Profit, let's hear the story from your end, dude.
Sure. So I live in San Francisco, California, and Rom was in the Bay Area. Well, yeah, you were in SF, but this day he was like down south. So yeah, if you know anything about the Bay Area, there's like SF, which is the city on the peninsula, and then like about an hour south, there's San Jose, and he was around that area. And I had like used the product, and I saw like I'd never met him, but I saw how high taste Rom was, which I really value. Like if you just look at the Avichi Twitter account, you just see like everything looks pretty, right? It's really nice. And so he was basically my white whale, even before I met him. And so he was like, okay, I'd been trying to meet him for a while. And then he was like, okay, I can do like 10 a.m. or like 11 a.m. At this coffee shop, which was like kind of between us, more tilted towards him than me, but that's okay. And so took an Uber down, met him at this coffee shop. We ended up in Palo Alto, it's called. It's where actually, ironically, a lot of VCs live and work. And we walked around for probably like 2 hours. And he basically he like recently was like very skeptical of tokens. And so I think I'm also very like, I'm a generally pretty skeptical person. And so I think that helped of like basically walking him through like, okay, yes, this isn't for everyone. Like there are these trade-offs, but there is actually this core value add of like, you get these people that care about you. Yeah. Like you get to, I mean, you get money, but then the people that believe in you and like want you to win from day one, right? Because there's financial alignment there. And like bag bias actually works in your favor. And so, I think by the end he was like, okay, I'm not convinced. I still need to think more about it. But I think if I were to launch a token, I would do MetaDAO. And that was like all the way back in May, I think. Was it, Rom?
Would that have been before
Yeah.
OMFG?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
OMFG even raised. And then finally he was like, okay, like I'm down to do this. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And then I'm super happy that that Avichi is now live. I'm a proud angel investor. I now like bought most of my allocation on just the open market. Like the cool thing about the launch was that it didn't, I mean, there were snipers, but they actually lost money because it launched at pretty much like the same price as the ICO price. And so I bought around there, and I'm going to hold to zero or Valhalla.
Let's go. Yeah, Ram, I'll give Prophet some credit here because we had Prophet on, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago. And this was right after Umbra had kind of finished their raise. And he was saying, guys, I'm interested in Avichi. This looks like an awesome product. By the way, chart's looking great. I'm not sure if anyone's checked recently. Not that should be a main focus, but chart's looking great. But no one was a bigger supporter than Prophet, Ram. So you got a good one in your corner.
Yeah, sure.
Prophet, and I know this is about Avichi, so I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds here, but Prophet, what do those conversations look like with VCs? You're in San Francisco. Are you talking with VCs? Are you talking with a bunch of liquid funds? Like who's interested in this? What kind of interest are you seeing from that community for ownership tokens?
Yeah, I do. I actually, ironically, not with SF VCs because they're mostly Web 2, and the crypto VCs live in New York pretty much. But yeah, I talk with a lot of liquid funds, and I'm talking to VCs to try to get our current deal closed.
What does the outpouring look like from that end? Are you seeing like generally VCs that are maybe biased towards not wanting anything to do with crypto kind of starting to lean into it now with this model? Or has there been a shift and a change that you can see physically manifest?
Honestly, I have not talked to really any non-crypto VCs, so I can't say.
Okay, what about just willingness from liquid fund or crypto VCs? Have you seen a general shift?
Oh yeah,
there?
for sure. I mean, that one is kind of obvious because like if you look at all of the existing ownership tokens that are live, OmniPair, Avichi, and Umbra, they're all owned by more than one liquid fund. And that's just like my knowledge. So, which like you don't see in the trenches, right? These liquid funds are not on Axiom, like bidding typical coins. So you I think that is actually probably the clearest signal to me that we might have some PMF here, is that you have liquid funds that have historically not participated actually participating.
Yeah, sweet. No, that's super inspiring to hear and exciting, frankly. So let's loop it back. Let's loop it back to Avichi. So Ram, maybe roadmap here. Obviously, you had a pre-existing profit or a pre-existing product. You guys are having some revenue, right? You're no longer pre-revenue. You guys are seeing some revenue at the moment, correct?
Yeah, we actually had revenue from the day we launched the card because we just it was a paid card, and it's still low. It's less than $70,000, but we still don't make interchange because I was just self-funding this and just wanted to get this out there. But yeah, I think their next couple of months focus is try to get the interchange revenue by scaling what we have, and essentially also launch metal cards with some ecosystem partners that we're already in touch with. And by the end of this year, essentially even improve the product a lot. And I think one of the most important things with Avichi is we want to solve home mortgages and as well as unsecured credit lines. Um and whatever we want to build actually underpins by this trust score. And we want to have like a trust score for on chain to essentially, it's similar to a FICO score, but yeah, we collect both on chain and off chain data and offer privacy, and essentially only collect GK proofs of that, and essentially have like a trust score that we could bootstrap and grow. Because I actually think yeah, solving unsecured lending is probably the final piece for crypto that truly needs to be solved, so that we can all uh, say that yeah, like we really don't need banks anymore.
Would KYC be necessary for something like this, or do you think it could happen? Yeah, it would be necessary.
Yeah, it will be necessary, but it works like this, right? You're actually private till you don't default, and once you default, there is like a right for whoever wants to essentially collect it or actually figure out what's going on. But yeah, I think since we are trying to make it interoperable for a lot of things that already TradFi has built, for the important stuff, you do need KYC. But again, yeah, like we're working on figuring out just stablecoin to stablecoin infrastructure. If that exists, you essentially don't need a KYC, and you're still using just ZK proofs of your Web2 data.
Okay.
And
Sure.
real quick for the audience, just kind of like explain the role of ZK proofs and how that helps with the privacy aspect.
Yeah, I think we'll debut the Trust Score by partnering up with a couple of companies, big companies that have maybe more than 50 to 100 employees, and essentially we'll prove we'll have them issue the home mortgage to them, but we don't want the employer to know about the employee about this loan, right? But everything still happens on chain. Example, we there's actually a video on this that we just made to show how it could work. But yeah, I don't have it handy, but it could be in our handle somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for
What
it
do
right
you?
now.
Yeah, just scroll to the video. I think you should be able to get it. So essentially, you connect your FICO score, you connect your Plaid bank account, but we don't collect this data. But we'll have a structure to understand this data, and essentially do ZK proofs of that, so that we can actually understand. I mean, let's just say your FICO score is more than 800. We can prove that it's more than 800. We don't need to look at it. Yeah, that's that's the one. So you essentially connect all the things, and we provide GK proofs, and there could be an on-chain pool that could directly give it to you. And then yeah, like your employer doesn't know about you, the pool where it's coming from doesn't need to know about you. It'll just directly flow, and yeah, only in case of a default where it could be help to solve the issue. Yeah.
Has anyone been able to do this yet?
Not really, but I think there's one called 3Jane, which I'm also a fan of. I think they're probably the ones that have been working around this, but yeah, it's very less. It's not solved yet for sure.
Okay. I got a few things here. This is crazy, by the way, just to see and like have it conceptualized
Yeah.
here. But one thing you mentioned twice now before this was your core focus now that the token's out is to just drive revenue back to this project, right? Drive revenue. How do you intend to do that?
Yeah, like I said, I think we want to scale the infrastructure that we have with our partners so that we get most of the interchange from the card spends. I mean, we're on a credit bin, so if anyone spends $100, we make like 1 to 2% of it, depending upon the merchant. Yeah, essentially, we want to upgrade to our plan such that we have most of the revenue. And yeah, that's one revenue. Also the metal cards, like I think everyone loves metal cards, and we're working with ecosystem partners to essentially launch that, and there'll be paid cards as well. These two are the main focus, and yeah, like obviously this comes, and the trust score and the home mortgage lending walls would probably come sometime in 4 to 6 months, which I think also could be a very good revenue source if we can crack this.
Okay. Now you talk about the trust score. this has nothing to do with the trust score, but for a financial product like this to be successful, the underlying company, right, in this case, it's Avichi, needs to be trusted by people. I think you've done a great job. I think obviously partnering with MetaDAO for this raise is a great way to show trust that you're all in and, you're here to stay. But how do you get that message across to people that, you can trust my platform, you can use Avichi, and like, you don't have to worry about some of the other risks we run in crypto, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think for us, probably that's the single most important thing too. That's why we try to make the app really good. We put tons of work into design. It's still not perfect. There's tons that needs to be done to essentially make them trust. Design is probably the first glance someone would be like, okay, they have put a serious thought in it. But again, yeah, like I think there are a lot of cards out there, but they're custodial, right? Like we took the risk and essentially building out all this infra to, okay, let's just purely do it self-custodial way, where we can actually prove people that, hey, you don't need to trust us. Like everything is audited, the smart contracts and everything, the wallets, you can, we're never taking control of your funds. That also helps. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of, like you said, like getting the brand message out there that, hey, we actually want to build it self-custodial way where you actually don't need to trust us, and essentially audit it yourself in blockchains where the money is and everything.
Cool. Can we talk about the team real quick? Who's working on this? Obviously you. You must have some sort of people helping you out because you've made a lot of good development here. So give us an idea there.
Yeah, I have other two co-founders, Varun and Abhishek, but I also have another three people helping me with design, growth, and customer support. Like I handle product design, architecture, and the other two are technical. They handle one is a full stack dev and one is a mobile dev. But yeah, that team is like around 5, and yeah, actually we are hiring 2 more, so yeah, like could be 7 in a couple of weeks.
Cool. That's awesome. A quick question for Profit here. Profit, are you pushing for ecosystem collaborations? Like, I could see maybe you guys partnering with Umbra, for example, to kind of help some on the privacy end of this. Is that something, or a conversation Ram, I guess you guys are entertaining, and Profit, is that something you're, working to really cater to?
It's not something I'm pushing. No, in fact, it's kind of the opposite. I think
Okay.
like for startups, BD can often be like a big distraction. Like it can be just like a circle jerk of like, oh, like we're partnering with you, and like so something is happening, but actually no users are onboarding and no revenue is being made. So yeah, I think like I mean, if they already would have worked together, great, and then like yeah, sure, but it's not something that we're like actively pushing though. I mean, I think the only thing that I think is useful is like probably just having some founder on founder like meetings. Just like I know I benefit from I know I benefit from talking to other founders in the Solana ecosystem. And yeah, also there will be like MetaDAO specific things. Like all these people are launching liquid tokens at an early stage, which is not common in crypto. And so I think that carries like unique psychological risk. And so, yeah, like having a place where people can talk, I think is useful. But no, I'm not pushing like products collaborating.
Yeah, that makes sense. Ram, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I can't tell much, but we're talking. We do have a group, all 3 of us.
Okay, there we go. That's a little bit of alpha there. Let's do roadmap, dude. What do you guys, most focused on right now? What are you excited for? What's kind of on the roadmap? I see again a contra tweet here showing the master plan. You guys published this with a bunch of boxes you want to tick.
Yeah, this is actually a long-term plan, but I think this is also idealistic. But short-term plan, it's quite different. It's in our other docs. But yeah, I think one thing that's really exciting for us, where we are actually getting a lot of organic requests, is actually business accounts, where we are launching it pretty soon. Especially focused on, I think crypto startups still have like a big trouble in getting bank accounts, and actually even DAOs. I can't reveal much, but I think we could be able to support DAOs essentially having a bank account and a card from their wherever they are registered, and essentially do on ramps, off ramps, payouts without needing an operating entity. that's something that we're looking forward to launching pretty soon. Which I think, I think onboarding 10 businesses is like probably onboarding like 100 200 people because they're core power users, right? So yeah, and we have already, I think it just was 70 on the wait list. We're just working with few of them to figure it out and launch business accounts and pretty soon.
Sweet.
So this was actually a question I wanted to ask about earlier in the show, and I didn't want to jump ahead too much. But I think one of the exciting things now that we're on the topic is this kind of business, these
Yeah.
business account offerings. I mean, you find that even again, this is why I think you guys close the loop. You find that in crypto, there's still this interaction that needs to be had with some of these centralized entities, like whether it be banks or centralized exchanges or what have you. But again, you guys just kind of close the loop, and I'm super passionate about crypto creating products that allow users to operate fully on the Web3 side with no need to interact with anything else. And I think that's what you guys are unlocking with this business account, with these business accounts. You mentioned there were 70 on the wait list already. Can you tell us a little bit about who's more interested? Is it just DAOs? Or is it just kind of startups, or are there more like established players? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Mostly startups, mostly crypto startups itself, not even Web2. I think what you pointed out, I just wanted to show here, right? For us, to fintech, it's a competitive space. We have to build network effects and essentially have defensibilities. I think with us, like I told, these 5 are the most important ones. I see employer using us to do payouts and employee using the card. So yeah, I think right now, because it's quite easy to go to market, and we've been getting a lot of organic reach. Most of them, I think 99% of them are crypto startups. Like at least they know crypto. They operate like an agency that helps crypto startups that are already using our personal cards and now want a business account.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. And I mean, I think it's so important as just the offering that you have. It's important for you to have the trust of the community, and that's, I think, what you have, especially with the fact that you launched on MetaDAO, and that will be really nice for as far as things like network effects, and your name now becomes trusted, so you now become a go-to solution for a lot of these. So I'm super pumped about Avichi, man. Love what you guys are doing. Especially just because even for me personally and my my family relationships, you guys fix a personal problem of mine. That you guys have a huge solution. So shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, with that said, I mean, anything else that you wanted to cover, Dom? I mean, we went through quite a bit.
That totally covers all the bases.
Yeah.
What's up, Ram? Were you gonna say something?
No, I'm good. Yeah, I think we covered most of it.
And I saw Prophet unmuted. I don't know if Prophet, you wanted to jump in.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, because I think this is relevant to the listeners, like what makes me excited is like now, like, I mean, yeah, this is microcap gem show. I myself am not a trencher, but I am a trader. I've been for a while. And like, I feel like this is kind of the first time where you can actually own essentially a startup at like the early stages, right? You're not buying like these tokens at like multi-billion-dollar FTVs on centralized exchanges. Like you're participating in the early stages. And I just think that's really cool. And people shouldn't like should think about that basically, and hopefully participate somewhat.
Yeah, I'll kind of circle back on that too. I tested out the website, tested out the raise, super easy, super clean. I mean, you just hold down a button and you literally get in there and you get your money in there to these ICOs and raises. So, dude, I attest to it. We just got off 11 a.m. and the conversation was, how are these tokens not just meme coins? And we referenced MetaDAO quite a bit because it's the first meaningful steps we're seeing into this right direction of tokens actually having some sort of intricate value. Maybe give us an idea, Prophet, on like final vision. Is MetaDAO at its final stage? I guess it'd be naive to even say that in general, but would you say MetaDAO is at its final stage? Do you think there's a lot of work to be done? Like, where do you think we have to go to make this the norm?
So much more work to be done, especially on, I think, the founder side, like making it super easy for a founder to launch on MetaDAO. and reducing the friction that they have around like raising proposals and dealing with the token holders and whatnot. I do think structurally, I think that this is actually probably the final like product for MetaDAO. Like I think that I think that there's a decent chance that we find PMF on like this fundraising product, and so I'm just focused on making it the best possible fundraising product.
Dude, I love it. I love it. Ram, I guess we'll kind of let you wrap here. Any closing thoughts you have? Anything to get the people going, get them excited? Because that was a fantastic conversation. Super interesting.
No, I'm all good. Thank you so much for having me.
Nothing to get them excited? You're excited? Maybe.
Oh, sorry.
Ram.
Oh yeah, I misread the question. Yeah, I think if you're struggling to off-ramp and you're not happy with your bank account, do check us out. And I'm available on Twitter to answer you, help you get onboarded.
You're a savage on Twitter too. I saw you kind of mog some people on there who wanted some early access, and you're just like, nah.
I mean, we launched with 0 access. Even even if you wanted to, we couldn't do it. That's what's amazing about us. So yeah.
Dude, for some context, guys, I wish I had that tweet saved, but there was some guy basically fudding Avichi. You know, hey, this product's not gonna last. Has no product market, whatever. I forget exactly what he said, so don't quote me on that. But it's so funny
because
because
bring it up.
You bring it up, Ram. Yeah, we might as well.
Please do.
It's like kind of going viral. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Josh, are you able to pull that up? And guys, for the listeners here, I'm not sure what the technical term is, but there was a big outage today across streaming platforms. So we're using a different streaming platform today, trying to make this work. It's actually worked, better than I would have expected. But we appreciate first and foremost.
I got StreamYard Premium today just for you guys. So
let's go. So
Ram, if you want me to share it, just link in chat and I'll pull it up.
Oh yeah, I'm still looking for it. Sorry. Give me.
I put it in the chat.
Yeah,
All
right, let's get it. Sorry.
Looks like I was way too active on Twitter the last couple of days.
Yeah, I was looking through your replies to him like, dude, this guy's going.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this guy, 100K views. This is hilarious. You guys don't risk your whole portfolio for just 20 to 30% profit. I only share pre-shares that I have the potential to do a minimum 2x, but even I can't be 2 to 4% wrong sometimes. So always DYOR, apply proper portfolio risk management. Skip the Avichi sale for a reason. Many negative VE. He actually got that backwards. Factors.
Negative,
so
yeah.
I can't take risk. Ram just drops the comment in here. Sorry, I couldn't reply. This guy's just in his DMs begging for like pre-sale and private access. Hilarious.
That's so crazy. Straight mog this guy, dude. Good work.
That gave me a chuckle on Twitter. Dude. I'm seeing like a bunch of people repost it too.
Yeah, I think that's what I love about MetaDAO. I think the structure is really clean. I think like what Prophet added, you get to be part of a startup that you believe in from day one. There's no, I mean, like what I'm most proud of about our chart is just one FTV is equal to market cap. So they know every single token that will be issued will be on their terms. And since the structure aligns everyone, I actually think, yeah, it's one of the most amazing ways to launch and align everyone.
Crypto is just filled with some very interesting people.
That it is. That it is.
Well, look, Ram, I think that's the best way to top it off, just by just showing, your ferociousness and your and your lack of being messed with. But no, awesome product. We love what you're building. We know that you have a ton of things coming. And it's a long-term roadmap. So as you guys continue to release products and updates, definitely if you want to come back on the show, we'd be happy to have you. If you want to drop some alpha for your community or come out with some announcements or what have you. But look, hats off to you. And this is a personal thanks because, again, you're filling a personal gap of mine that I've tried to, fill with crypto for a while and no one has solved it. So thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Cool.